Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to Global CEO Magazine. So if you have been following our interviews, you know that we like to bring to the spotlight the leaders, the change makers in different sectors. And these leaders, these change makers, they bring about a massive change. They make a big impact in the world around them. So the theme that we are going to explore in this episode is making a change in Sri Lanka using lighting solutions. So joining us today, we have an expert in the field coming all the way from Malaysia. She is the Group Managing Director of Samaiden Group Limited. She is Engineer Chow Pui Hee. Thank you for joining us here today and welcome to Sri Lanka.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure to have you here with us. So as Samaiden Group Limited join us here in Sri Lanka as they venture into a new market in Sri Lanka. They're here to bring to us different new technology and energy efficient solutions, and they're here to make a difference in the way we illuminate our spaces here in Sri Lanka. Now, before we dive right into the conversation, my question is, who is Samaiden?
Samaiden actually is a renewable energy power system service providers, in which we are the public company in Malaysia. Our main role is actually we design and build and operation and maintenance of large-scale solar power plants plus other renewable energy power plants as well. So until to date, Samaiden have built closer to about 1,000 megawatts of installation, particularly in Malaysia.
Amazing. So you're a leader when it comes to lighting solutions in your country.
We are not the leader of lighting solutions. We are the leader of the renewable energy.
Okay, so you're a leader in the renewable energy sector. So when it comes to Sri Lanka, in the past few months, Sri Lanka has been going through a few challenges, especially when it comes to the economy. So what really made you enter the Sri Lankan market?
The renewable energy is booming the whole world. Malaysia, we have a very massive target of the renewable energy mix in Malaysia, and we heard that even in Sri Lanka, they also have the government also set a very massive of the renewable energy mix targets for 70% by 2030, in which now actually this created an opportunity for us to enter in Sri Lanka. We have extensive experience in Malaysia with quite a number of projects, and our history of renewable energy was started since way back 2012, and now it's actually about more than 10 years. We think that we can bring our experience and our investment to come into Sri Lanka to assist Sri Lanka government to achieve the targets of the renewable energy mix. Despite that there is an economic crisis that you have mentioned about, but we believe that for the environmental topics is a global agenda, and I believe that besides the Sri Lanka government put more attention on these issues, I believe that a lot of investors, global investors, also interested to participate in this kind of environmental projects in Sri Lanka.
So as Sri Lanka is still a developing country, it's natural for us to be interested in the benefits that you will impart in the country, how you will impact this particular sector here in Sri Lanka. So can you please talk about how your projects will impact the renewable energy sector here in Sri Lanka?
In Sri Lanka, actually, they in needs of the renewable energy. The energy shortage in Sri Lanka because in the industrializations plus the demand of energy increase. Then not only for the normal coal power plant, they also have the renewable energy demands is here. So when the country grow, definitely they have usage of the energy will be increased. So if you wanted to increase the usage of energy, you have to put more demand of the energy. But if you put more demand, the power plant, putting in coal power plant or others, a source of power plant will increase the carbon emissions to the world. So the right place is doing renewable energy. So now in Sri Lanka, we see that there are a lot of policy that is encouraging. we have met this Board of Investment, BOI. They have actually explained to us the government's policy and the government's opportunity to welcome investors to come in to develop solar power plants, and also to together to build the green economy together with the Sri Lanka.
Great. So in this new venture, you are collaborating with Rupee Lighting Solutions. So why them? What is their significance?
Rupee Lighting is a lighting specialist in Malaysia. We are partners in Malaysia. We have worked some projects in Malaysia already. With the good collaboration, both of us, we wanted to expand our collaboration in Sri Lanka. And we see that Sri Lanka, there is a lot of opportunity, particularly there's a lot of developments on the usage or requirements of the lighting. And lighting actually is one of the items that is using energy. So we wanted to have a green economy that we are proposing to use a renewable energy plus the lighting. So in order to have more sustainable solution for the economy.
All right, so like I mentioned earlier, since Sri Lanka went through a tough time in terms of economy, it's normal for us to be a little concerned about how you can benefit us, yes? So during the past few months, majority of the businesses here in Sri Lanka and even the communities, it took a hit due to the situation of the economy. So can you please share with us how you can benefit the Sri Lankan businesses and the communities?
Okay, that although that Sri Lanka facing some difficulty, but we as the foreign investor, we can develop projects, this green project in the countries. When we develop the projects, we are bringing the funds to the country. Then actually we also will transfer our technologies to the society over here. Then we can increase the opportunity for workers here to participate together with the green project that we are going to develop in this country.
So when we are talking about bringing in new technology, a concern that we usually have is how it affects the environment. So what are the environmental benefits that your company will bring here?
In terms of technology-wise, this renewable energy equipment is not a rocket science equipment, but it's how to be practiced or to apply in the actual installation to make the project technical, feasible and viable and commercially viable is our role to make it happen. Because it's not only that you put up the solar panel that actually you can generate the things. You need to go through engineering design, you put an optimum design plus the quality control of the system, because the system has to be there for 20 years at least minimum in order to generate a persistent or consistent energy. Then actually this is our experience, because we have already more than 10 years experience in our country. So we can bring this experience into the apply to the Sri Lanka projects in terms of project management, into our engineering design, and also on terms of operation and maintenance for the long-term usage of the plant.
Yes, and that brings me to the next question. So you were talking about using your expertise and your experience here in Sri Lanka. So like you mentioned earlier, Samaiden is a leader when it comes to renewable energy sources sector. So how will you really leverage this expertise, this experience to benefit Sri Lanka?
This experience is not come immediately. It's actually through the years of experience that we have already developed close to 1,000 megawatts projects in our country. In Sri Lanka, what we understand from the authorities to date, actually the total project for solar, I think, is just a few hundred megawatts. So that's why that we think that we can leverage our technical know-how, we can leverage our financial strength, and also we can get more funding from other countries to come into Sri Lanka.
So when you're usually venturing into a new market, there are certain benefits, and at the same time there are certain challenges that you have to face in that new market. So you really have to analyze how it is and how you're going to face these challenges once you have really entered into the market. So what are the challenges that you see here in Sri Lanka when it comes to this sector?
In terms of challenges, we now, this time is the first time we come to Sri Lanka. So the purpose of this visit, actually, we are towards to do due diligence. We talk to the authorities, we talk to the partners over here, so that we understand the country better. After that, we only can come back to our country, we do a proper analysis to analyze what are the major challenges we're going to face. But generally, when you enter into a new markets, mainly the challenges is actually in the local authorities. The major part is because the countries, each of the countries that have own rules and regulations. So when we go to a countries that we need to understand the rule and regulations, that's why we first of all we go to see a lot of authorities, particularly like BOI is one of the authorities that we see whether what can we do here and what are the tax benefits or other things that we bring in investment here. Then secondly, we need to look at the partners over here, because that for the projects installations, we only can bring engineers for the design stage, but we cannot bring the workers, all my Malaysian workers come over here to do the installations. We still need to work together with the available labor or resources over here to do the installation and operate the system, and we do a technology transfer. With our experience, we can transfer the technologies towards them to make the system work and more efficient and with a better quality control.
Yes, so like you mentioned just now, when you're coming into Sri Lanka when you're coming into this new market, it's imperative that you communicate, that you interact with the locals here, with the stakeholders here in Sri Lanka. So how do you really plan to interact with them? How do you plan to engage with them?
We also appreciated that we have our partners from Malaysia that have partners with the Business Council of Colombia, Sri Lanka and Malaysia. So these business partners, they actually bring us to see the stakeholders, and also we have some exchange of information, exchange of the view, and we will come back more frequent to understand the local situations in order for us to craft a right business plan to be coming into Sri Lanka.
So when we talk about a new product, especially in the market, we are pretty concerned about the quality of the product. We want to make sure that we are getting a suitable product, a right product for the price that we are paying. And that is something a lot of customers, a lot of consumers are concerned about. So how do you make sure that this quality and the reliability is met?
As I mentioned earlier, that we are not new in this industry. We are already in more than 10 years in Malaysia, and renewable energy, particularly on the solar energy, is actually using the sun or the irradiations to generate the electricity. And it highly depends on the weather and the weather of the countries itself. And one thing is very consistent one, Malaysia and Sri Lanka, their weather patterns is quite similar, and they have a lot of rain and humidity is high. It's very, very similar. So that's why with this, that actually we will have more experience can share among this kind of collaborations.
So I'm going to deviate a little bit from the technical side. I'm going to deviate a little bit from talking about the lighting solutions. So this is more towards I would say women empowerment in the industry. So when it comes to the business sector or even any sector, it could be the health sector, the engineering sector, the IT, men dominate, yes. So I would like to know about your journey as a female leader, because I'm sure when you're working with a group of men, I'm sure you must have faced at least a little bit of challenges as a woman, right? So how did you get started in your industry? And I'd like to know your journey as a female leader.
This is come back to, because myself is the chemical engineer background. I actually graduated from Malaysia's University of Chemical Engineering. So upon graduations, that I entered the design and build of wastewater treatment plant company that doing engineering design, implementations of the projects, and also testing and commissioning of the projects. So throughout the journey of the career path, that we learn to plan, organize, implement, and operate and maintain the projects itself for the whole supply chain of engineering solutions. So coming back to way back to 2013, in which our country is promoting the renewable energy, and we started with the Renewable Energy Act. And for me, I looking at it as an opportunity. That's why I set up Samaiden. So with the objective of the time to set up a company is not because I wanted to become entrepreneur. It's just that it's a bit tiring working for more than 10 years doing engineering works and doing the design works and then the construction works. I just wanted to do some things actually more easy. That's why I set up Samaiden, mainly doing some consultancy works for renewable energy. But apparently that the journey actually have been still not according to plan because of the available of opportunities. I managed to secure a big contracts, develop large-scale solar farm, in which we in charge of design, build, and construct and operate the power plants. So with that first track records, that then the company suddenly grow very huge, tremendously within actually 3-4 years time. So we managed to public listed the company in way back 2020, in which about 7 years after the incorporations. So now the company itself actually will have more than hundreds of people and in Malaysia, compared to the early days of only of about 10 to 20 people. And the companies grow from the market capitalizations actually now is about 100 million US dollar. So this is the so-called the journey that we have from engineer to become entrepreneur and continue the journey towards the providing sustainable solutions to the environment.
Great. So still exploring the topic of leadership, so your organization is a leader in your sector and you're a leader leading that organization. So can you describe your leadership style and how it has worked out for you so far in your journey?
For a company that actually started small, you need to be multitask. You need to guide your subordinate along the process. So the song mentioned about the early days in the journey of the entrepreneur, the company is more you as a boss or the leader, you also have to do your administration work, you do your business development works, you have to do your accounting, bookkeeping works, and others supervising works during construction. So you have to be equipped with all your skill there. Subsequently, when the company grows bigger, you cannot do one thing by yourself anymore. You need to train your team. You need to tell them what are your expectation is and what is the ultimate objective of your doing that things. A lot of people that we notice that they don't know the importance of the completing the task without meaning. They just say, you need to complete this at this time. But always you need to tell them you completed this time and what is the impact if you don't complete it, and ultimate objective you completed this task for what purpose can help what people to do what. Then actually will be get people to understand that the purpose of doing the things is not merely following the instruction and completed the thing. This is very, very important. I think as a leader, you need to make it very clear to your subordinate what they need to do and by when need to do and what is the purpose of doing. Or else people will think, I do things but don't know what is the purpose. Then become that it's no meaningful for them to do the things.
Yes, I think it's really important to make sure that the team that you're leading, they know what they're doing, why they're doing it, so they have a better understanding of what and why they're doing it. Wonderful. So I'm sure in your country there are a lot of ladies, there are a lot of girls who look up to you, and I'm sure once you start off your projects here in Sri Lanka, I'm sure there will be a lot more women who look up to you. So what would you like to, what is the advice that you would like to give to the female entrepreneurs who are just starting out?
A bit of a difference is actually in our country, it's not many women entrepreneurs. Apparently, when I come to Sri Lanka, I'm surprised that I met a lot of women entrepreneurs. So in which that I see that Sri Lanka is more gender equity, because in Malaysia, probably that woman is not so aggressive and they are spend more time towards the family. So that's why I always been surrounded by men, in particular in the engineering industry that are doing it. So, but I didn't feel that I'm very special. I just think that it's quite normal to be gender equity. So in Sri Lanka now, I see it is something that actually attracting me. The woman here is very powerful and the women are very, very independent. So this is come back to me that I can see that this is a country that I can come in and can work together with a lot of women that have same ideology with me. So I think that this is a lovely country to come.
Great. And I'm very interested in this question. What is your business motto?
My business motto. Basically, my business motto is more related to my personal motto that I want things to be success. We do things, we need to make things to happen. You don't do things for developing and without results. So that's why for me, anything I develop, that it will have result and successful. This is always my motto. I want to make things happen.
So when it comes to like moving back into the technical side of this industry, I'm sure even in Malaysia there are a lot of competitors for you. There are a lot of other organizations in the renewable energy source sector. So how is your organization different from the others?
In Malaysia, renewable energy actually is very, very competitive because the history started earlier. And although that just now I tried mentioning that is I didn't feel the difference of women and male in my industry. But frankly to say that if you say that the unique selling point that among my competitor, I'm only the ones of the companies that run by the woman leader in my industry. So when they say that, do you know the renewable energy industry that is led by the woman? Yeah, then you know that it's Samaiden.
So I think what some women take as an advantage, I think in your situation you have what these women take as a disadvantage, I think you have taken it as an advantage and made it into a strong point. Beautiful. So how are you really creating value for your stakeholders of your company?
In terms of values to the stakeholders, actually not only the company itself, we always treat that our business is a total solution provider. We develop project, we construct project, and we want to make the project happen. So this actually involves a lot of stakeholders. So as our role, if we only focus on our scope of work, in which that our role is that is a contractor, it's total solution contractor. We just build and commission. But we have to provide additional services that we can provide. For example, with that, we secure fundings, we actually getting the approval, authority approval, and or getting the resources for the development of the projects and making the project happen. Or else if we just focus on our scope of work, the project won't happen within the time frame that you want, because this is your scope. You have to manage your scope. But when you leave it to others to manage their scope, possibly the time frame wise is out of your control. We actually can come in actually to assist and guide them along. This is the pathway that we're going to do, and we have to complete this within this certain time frame that we work along the things together.
So at the beginning of this discussion, we talked about how this industry, this sector is an ever-growing industry and it's rapidly expanding. So I would like to ask you, what are the trends that you see will trend in the future, and are you prepared to face them, and how you're planning to face these trends?
Okay, this industry, as I say, that is actually about 10 years in Malaysia, and everybody are going towards the direction to think the innovative way to generate renewable energy at the most economic way. So even the technology improvement is always come to the direction of more economic. That means that we are using less money to generate the good quality of energy. So for me, that this moving forwards is actually we have to move together with the technology and provide the solutions with the ultimate objective is we can generate the green energy with the more cost efficient way. This is the direction, because the demand of the energy will be increased, the cost of generating energy will be increased as well. So if we have some solutions like, for example, solar energy that actually with the minimum cost of operations, then you can have a long-term energy cost can maintain at the minimum cost.
Great. So my next question, which is really the last question that we have in store, when you're this big of an organization, and you don't have to be a leading organization, any organization, they should have goals and targets that are measurable so that they know they are going forward. So how do you really measure the success of your company?
As I mentioned, that the companies was public listed in year back 2020. This year is the 4th years of the listing, and after the first 3 years, I have set very clear targets to the team that we wanted to establish our footprint in Malaysia, the quantity of project with a certain capacity of projects. So we have met our targets. And now that this coming 5 years time, our targets actually we wanted to expand from Malaysia. We are not only wanted to do it in Malaysia, that's why also the purpose that we come to Sri Lanka, and we mentioned about the measurable quantities of the projects. Actually, we in the plan of developments in the countries such as in Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka is also one of the countries they are looking at. So in this 5 years time, we are thinking to have the balance of our revenue of at least 30% is coming from the foreign markets.
Great. So I believe we had a very fruitful, constructive discussion. So with that, we are going to wrap up the first part of this interview. But we do have a second part coming up. And in that video too, we are going to discuss all about the lighting solutions that they can offer us, they can offer Sri Lanka. So thank you very much, Engineer Chow Pui Hee, for joining us. It was such a pleasure to have you here, especially coming all the way from Malaysia. So stay tuned with us. We will see you again in the next part.